Under bright white light, two plastic hearts found love at first sight. One had a bullet hole, the other had a frown. But when the trial paused, oh baby, love went down. It's hot mannequin love in the court of law. No breath, no blood, just a flawless jaw. Struck a pose, then struck a spark. Made of fiberglass, but lit up the dark. Hot mannequin love with the lenses askew. Who knew Exhibit A would look so into you? She leaned just right, he's sweet just so. Like Cupid fired a dart through a Velcro torso. The jury looked confused, the bailiff blushed, the stenographer typed, objection, they're flushed. Hot mannequin love, no heartbeat, no shame, but they set off fired a dart through a Velcro torso. The jury looked confused, the bailiff blushed, the stenographer typed, objection, they're flushed. Hot mannequin love, no heartbeat, no shame, but they set off fire alarms just the same. Crime scene dolls, now courtroom flames. In love so real, it should be in chains. Hot mannequin love, not legal but true. Just don't let the judge catch them kissing in view.
What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Hope you all are doing wonderful and great and have had a good day and all that wonderful stuff that we all do as humans. Dog Mom, you'll be in the background listening, and we will be here trying not to distract you or trying to distract you. Although we were good last night. We were good. We were good. Hello, June. Hello, Gabby. Hey, AJ. Hey. What's up, Tink? Other than your air conditioning's out, that sucks. I hope that you can get that fixed. And they have a good conference with your maintenance guy person. I'm just assuming. What's up, Flash Fan? I don't know where you're. Good morning. Flash Fan, you sleep a lot, my friend. There's what I was looking for. I'm good. I hope you are too. Hello, Brandy Cat. How are you? Hope you've had a great Wednesday. Old Soul, good afternoon to you as well. Yeah, no AC does suck. Very much so. Been there. And I feel for you. So I hope it, especially because you said it's like 105 wherever you are. Good grief. I feel bad because I was going to complain because I just want it to be August, the typical August here. Like, come on. I only get a few more weeks and then you're going to be fall. And well, I did have that. Actually, I did. It's cold. It is cold out there. It's been so cold here in the morning. The water is cold. But I still had fun. I thought you had to work. Every day you tell me you got to work and then you're not working. I'm like, what's going on? Did she secretly win the lottery and she's not telling me? If it's anything bad, I figured your punishment. I already figured it out. If I have to ground you, at 30, I'll make you move back to the state. And I know you don't want to do that. Well, I hope you had a good meeting. Hey, Christine, how are you doing? Thank you for being a member for 15 months. Wow. I hope everything is going well over on your channel. I'm not trying to, what? I'm not trying to kick her out of chat. She tells me all the time she's got to work. She said it in here like, good night, hello, good night, gotta go work. I know. I mean, how many times have we talked about something and then it happens? But we've been calling in the millions and the millionaires that just want to be like, here's money, no strings attached, no weird stuff, and they don't show up. See, Carmen's not just me. Tink's going to put her 40-year-old in timeout. Well, I'd have to play to win as well. That's why I'm hoping mine and Gabby's method works. I didn't get it done because I'm still trying to come up with the right style of music that I want to put with it. But I was writing a song about corn sweat. Well, I wasn't writing it. I told ChatGPT what I wanted to write, and it made it make sense. So, but now I'm trying to figure out what style of music it should have behind it. The first couple that I put in there, like, well, maybe depends on what kind of video I can put together for it. But some of the lyrics are funny, and then sometimes just it's like this rhymes, so like, but okay, there's a couple lines in Hot Mannequin Love that are kind of like you could have tried harder, but I just told it my idea and it put it together, so I can't really complain too much. I know. I don't want to even read Corn Sign. That corn sweat video is awesome. Oh, well, I have a pool, so you'll be grounded in my state for a little bit. I'll ground you in December. I'll make it hurt. Make it hurt extra. You'll have cold and no pool. And maybe possibly snow. Flashman, I'll ground you if it makes you feeling better. Not like I'll ever know if you do it or not, but I can. I'd just be like, Flashman, you're grounded. You cannot eat for anything except healthy food for 1 week. And also no napping. Yeah, I don't think you're that hard-headed and it won't be accessible, but okay. So, all right, back on to other hard-headed people. Betty Broderick trials, what we've been doing for a while. We're getting to the end of it. This is the last day of her friends. I don't even think see you, Carmen. I don't even know that they're friends because I was kind of like going through to see like who was on. I thought the defense might rest today. They did not. They kind of did. They kind of do, but they don't because they're not. So these witnesses today sound like they're a bunch of teachers that had the Broderick children. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to help Betty. I heard just a little bit of testimony from one. I couldn't even tell you who it is here. There's quite a few teachers about, because remember Betty was saying that the kids were showing up to school. They weren't bathed. Like one of the kids had holes in his shoes. They were wearing the same clothes. So it's one teacher does kind of testify to, or maybe was a teacher, I don't know. Somebody is going to kind of testify a little bit about that. I don't know. I don't even, if that's the case, if the worst thing, that if Dan was doing, you know, after some of the trials that we've watched on here involving young children, if the worst thing he was doing was not necessarily, making sure he changed his clothes every day or making sure he took a bath every day, okay, that doesn't help Betty. If he wasn't being physical with the kids, if they were getting fed, if they had a safe place to stay, there's a lot of things that go into being a parent that you, not saying you can overlook those things because they are important, but as long as he's not harmed, that's the biggest thing. So if he came to school a couple of times and he was maybe had just, I think she said he had dirt behind his ears. I'm like, okay, like, there's worse. There is worse. That's not great, but it's worse. We've seen worse. We've seen a lot worse. No, Flash Fan, he is not. So I may not have this exactly correct. I've looked at a lot of stuff today. We've got this one, we've got these people, and then one, Jesus Lopez, is that his name? I don't remember. He is the last defense witness. He's a private investigator. Then the woman, right after that, is a rebuttal witness, and then we go into Dietz's testimony, and that's 4 parts. Hey, Bri, how you doing? I hope your work has slowed down a little bit. I know, knock on wood, I shouldn't even speak it out into the atmosphere, so I won't. You know what I'm saying has happened around here for right now. Yes, old soul. Betty complaining about Dan's parenting after she dropped them off like Amazon packages. The nerve. I agree. That's why I'm kind of like, yeah, that's not the worst. Yeah. And I was such a tomboy, and I hated to take baths, and I didn't want anybody to brush my hair. So my mom, would actually, my dad would get mad because I had a rat's nest. I'm sure. I don't remember it. I just know that I do remember that my mom would cut my hair off every summer, and I hated it. I hated it. That's why I have long hair to this day. I'll probably have long hair until I can't take care of it anymore on my own. And then if I can't hire somebody to take care of it, I guess I'll cut it. But I was probably a gross, dirty kid. So I get it. Your mom used to say, dust it off. If you got her, take some Tessin. Tessin. Oh no. I'm sorry, Bri. Hope there's nothing seriously wrong. I know Madison has a great caregiver, so I mean, and I'm glad you're getting some time off. I'm just sad it's for that because you've been working really hard. So I don't know. Silver lining, maybe. Robitussin? Cold medicine? Are you sure she just wasn't trying to make you sleepy? Go take a nap, Flash Fan. And now to this day, Flash Fan loves naps. Oh, goodness. Hang on one sec, because I did some things I probably shouldn't have and messed with some settings today. So who knows what's going to happen. Alrighty. Here we go. This lady kind of looks like the lady we saw last night, but she's not.
Please state your full name for the record and spell your last name.
Yes, my name is Beverly Morris, Morris.
Thank you.
Ms. Morris, what is your occupation?
I'm a school teacher. I've been with San Diego Unified School District since 1975. I teach second grade at Sequoia Elementary.
Do you know the lady here at the end of the council table, Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember how you met Betty?
Yes, there were a group of young children in 1985 who wanted to be on a soccer team. And at that time, they were short of coaches. And although Mrs. Broderick didn't have any special skills in soccer, she did step forward to give her time and energy and effort to coaching soccer. And that's how I met her, because my son was a member of her team
And do you remember what year this was?
in 1985.
Okay. And in showing you what has been marked as defense KK for identification, do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
Okay. And was this the team?
Yes, it was.
Was any of Mrs. Broderick's children on the team?
Yes, her son Rhett was on the team, her youngest.
Did you know whether Rhett was living with her at the time?
No, he wasn't. He was residing with his father at that time.
Okay. And were there times when Rhett did not attend the soccer activities?
Yes, many, many times.
Okay. And how would Mrs. Broderick respond to this?
Well, what happened was there were a series. Pardon me? I didn't hear you.
Just rephrase the question, Mr. or re-ask the question, Mr. Earl.
Okay. What were the schedules for the team? I mean, when would the team play games? When would they practice?
We practiced on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we had our games on Saturdays.
And how did Betty respond to when her son would not be at the practices?
She would respond with a tremendous amount of frustration, humiliation. She was very apologetic to the other players and to us, the parents, because she would go and try to pick up.
Objection, Your Honor. The call's for hearsay.
Oh, sustained.
Did Rhett attend all the games?
No, he didn't. He attended about half of them, 50% of them.
Would there be times when she would be late for practices and games when Rhett was not able to attend?
Yes. Because the reason why,
Objection, Your Honor.
You answered the question. That's what
yes,
I
she was late.
Did you ever see Mr. Broderick in any of the practices or the games?
Never.
Did Mrs. Broderick, when her son wasn't able to be there, did she still attend the activities and do the coaching?
Yes, she did. She always attended the practices and the games, even though she was unable to pick up her son.
And was she teaching at the time the children were there, was she teaching them the concepts and the values of the soccer league?
Yes, she was. She was an excellent coach.
Okay.
Who taught a great deal more than just the game. She was very good at sportsmanship and positive reinforcement.
Did you ever hear her use profanity around the children?
Never.
Was her behavior inappropriate?
Never.
And what did you see of the relationship with her son at that time?
Oh, Rhett adored his mother. He loved her very much. He was very proud of her, of course, because she was the soccer coach, and he had a very close bond with his mother, and it was great.
I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
Mrs. Morris, just to clarify, this was back in, soccer season back in 1985, correct?
Mhm.
So as far as you knew, this was shortly after the separation between the defendant and her ex-husband.
Apparently, yes, I don't know.
And you were not aware of the situation, were you aware of any of the details of how the living situation came to be, how the children came to be living with their father?
No,
What the situation was with them at that particular time?
I knew that she was going through a divorce,
Okay.
but that was all.
I don't have any questions.
Redirect,
Second.
witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Gabby
All right, call Betty Broderick to the stand.
catapulted out of the sunroof.
You do solemnly swear the testimony about to give and the matter not pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Ma'am, please have a single witness stand.
I
Ma'am,
would.
Thank you. And ma'am, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
My name is Beverly Jean Dewart, Dewart.
Thank you.
Stuart, what is your occupation?
At the present time, I'm the purchasing agent for Francis Parker School.
Okay. And did you have any other position with Francis Parker in the past?
Yes, I've been an employee since 1970. And up until 3 years ago, I was employed at the Randolph Street campus in the main office, and I worked with the director of admissions.
And are you familiar with Danny and Rhett Broderick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you familiar with the lady down here again, Betty Broderick?
Yes, sir.
How would, from when you saw Mrs. Broderick at the school, how would you describe her?
I first met the Brodericks in 1981 when they enrolled the two older girls. At that time, very striking family, close, beautiful, well-mannered, well-addressed, clean, gracious.
Was she someone, when you saw her at the time they started there, someone who was wearing expensive clothes and jewelry all the time?
Yes, sir.
Did you see any changes in Mrs. Broderick over the years?
Yes, sir.
And how did she change?
She would show up at school not dressed as nicely as she had previously. She had gained weight, quote, let herself go, no self-assurance, frustrated, anxious,
Now,
not always patient,
was she involved in the children's school activities?
very much so, almost on a daily basis.
And was that something that continued up until 1989?
I left the lower school campus in the year of '88 to go to the upper school, so I really didn't see much of her then, except when she came up to the upper school campus to pick up Danny at that time.
Was she involved in the school activities
Yes,
that parents get involved in?
yes, sir, very
And-
much so.
How would you describe that? Was she minimally involved?
No, she was very active, very, very active. Always somebody's room mother or the member of the Mothers Club at that particular time. And always went on the field trips as a chaperone and always wanted to be able to go even when they had to let other parents have a turn. But she was very anxious to spend time with her children.
Did you become aware at some point that
I'm sorry, that lady from yesterday. She gained an enormous amount of weight. It's still going through my mind. I'm already like, well, could her fat ass get on the bus? Maybe well, could she still go on the field trips? What's happening? You know, did they have to get a bigger bus? Because y'all talk about how much weight this poor woman gained. I know. I'm like, oh my gosh. Let herself go. At least she was nicer about it. This woman she's got her face is intense. Like, calm down. It's okay. Yeah. She was puffy. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's Dewart. Last name is Dewart, but I don't remember her first one. Her first name, not her first one. Sorry. And also, hello, Shani. What's up, Ronnie? Well, hopefully this testimony lets you finish your dinner, since they really just want to hammer on Betty's weight gain. Does this lady remind me of anyone? Not anyone in my personal life that I can think of, because they might scare me. She looks like somebody that has spent a lot of time in the sun, and maybe before sunscreen was a thing. I don't know. You don't want to say anything mean. Flashman, does she remind you of somebody? Gosh, I'm in play, Gabby.
The parents had separated and the children were living with their father.
Yes, sir, we were notified in the office.
Hey, did you notice a difference in Rhett's health after he was living with Mr. Broderick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what kind of problems was he having?
That's right.
Well, when he'd come in off the bus, he usually came to me because he always needed to have his nose blown. And at that time, we noticed that he would come to school wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row. And in cleaning his nose, you could tell that he was not bathed on a regular basis. The dirt behind his ears was caked. His head needed shampooing. But he was always eager to come in the morning. It was like a routine.
Were there problems during the winter on cold and rainy days, the way that they were dressed to go to school after there was a separation of the family?
On occasion, they would come to school without jackets, but we generally would have something in the lost and found. But a lot of times they would come without jackets, he and Danny.
Was there, what's the usual procedure that you would do when a child is sent to the school sick?
Sometimes they would come to school sick, we call the family right away. And normally, after the separation and we were informed that we were to notify Dan or his office when something would happen, we had to call him first. If we were unable to make contact, then we called Betty.
Was there any time that the children would have to stay in the office for some period of time because you couldn't reach Dan?
Yes.
Did you ever have any problems getting Betty Broderick to come?
No.
Okay. Did the children act different when their mother was going to pick them up rather than their father?
Only if they wanted to do something that they had been asked to at the last minute by a classmate. And then they'd ask her if they could go do this. And she didn't always want them to do it, but she usually let them go.
The problems that you saw as far as clothes and health and hygiene, was that problem ever apparent before the separation?
No, sir.
I have no further
She
questions.
seems sad.
Morning, Ms. Stewart. The contact that you're referring to was in 1986 and 1987 when Rhett was in second and third grade, correct?
That's correct.
Is that that point that you moved on to
Yes,
the other
that's correct.
campus?
But I did know him up from the time he was 3 years old.
Oh, so you knew him up to that point, but that was the end. Okay. And when you're talking about the problems with his clothes, having a runny nose, that was during the second grade, correct? Okay. And were you aware at all about any tests that were done to determine whether he had allergies at the time? Were you aware at all of whether that problem got better after it was determined?
Yeah.
Were you aware at all of any conferences that his teacher had with Mr. Broderick about the problem and whether there was?
Yes, there were conferences that I did know that, but
Were
what
you-
transpired, I didn't know.
Okay. Were you aware of conferences with the principal, the headmaster, David Blassie, and Mr. Broderick?
Yes, I knew that there were conferences.
Okay. So that they were in touch with Mr. Broderick and talking to him about it, and you then at that point left, so you don't know whether there was improvement in the problem. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's not unusual for children to stay in the office for some period of time while you attempt to get in touch with either one of their parents. Is that
That's correct.
I have a first question.
Redirect. The lawyer has more questions. Sure.
I have no further questions.
Witness is excused.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, we're going through them pretty quick.
Call Marilyn off from your. Want to have a moment with her?
Certainly.
Oh yeah, this is weird. So he wants a moment with her.
You can step out in the hall if you want, Mr. Early. You can step out in the hall if you want.
Okay, if I can, Your Honor.
I'm just wondering what he didn't want her to say or what he did want her to say. Kind of strange. I want to know. Also, Gabby, church lady's almost showing knee today. Almost showing her knees.
Yes.
I mean, he's fine to do that. But I just wonder what happened that made him do that with her.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Morning.
Morning.
Matt, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Spell my last name.
State your full name and spell your last name.
Marilyn Olson, Olson.
Thank you.
Ms. Olson, do you know the lady at the end of
Well, you can
the
talk to your
table there,
witnesses.
Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how did you happen to meet her?
I met Betty about 16 years ago when my son was in childcare with her. She was recommended by Lainey Carter, the professional grandmother at Scripps Memorial Hospital, who recommended her to do childcare. So I took him there.
Did you, you did have her do childcare for your children?
Yes, not every day, but maybe once or twice a week.
Okay, and how long did that go on?
Oh, probably 2 years or more.
And how many children was that?
Just one at the time.
And how would you describe Mrs. Broderick at that time?
Well, she certainly had a very child-centered home and had a great situation for taking care of children, and seemed to have that be her foremost concern, and enjoyed the children a lot, did fun things, baked cookies. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed her too.
Now, was she someone at that time that wore expensive clothes, flashy jewelry?
No, she just dressed normally, the way all of us dressed with children at that age.
The and how often did you would you say that you had
Does, Jimmy.
contact with her during this time?
Oh, once a week, twice a week at the most.
And did you and your family socialize with the Brodericks at all?
A little later than that, we did socialize with them some.
Okay, when was that?
I had a little girl 6 years later. I remember that we were at a Christmas party at Betty's house. And so that was 6 years later.
Okay. And what kind of parties were they?
Well, in this case, a family party with lots of our mutual friends and children and families around. It was very, family oriented type of activity.
Okay. Did you go to any parties after her separation? Did you become aware that she separated from her husband at some point?
Yes, I did. And I did go to parties at Betty's house.
Okay. Were they again family parties?
Yes, they were.
Okay. Were her children always there?
No, her children were not necessarily there. There was always a question as to whether they would arrive or not. And most often they did not.
From what you saw, how would you describe her involvement with her children?
Well, whenever I saw her with them, it was concerned and caring, but directive. A person who knew what she wanted for her children and was concerned that, it would work out for them and hoping it would be the right thing.
Was before her separation, when you first met her and through the early 80s, did Betty often make complaints about Dan, or how did that appear to you?
Well, before the separation, not really. I think we were all proud of our husbands. They all worked hard and they weren't around too much. And so we just, tried to make the best of it.
But there's nothing that sticks out to you that this was someone who was always complaining about her husband.
No.
Did you become aware of, you were aware that they did separate in 1985?
Yes.
Okay. And did you at any times did you become closer to her more after she moved to Cali de Cielo?
Yes, when she moved there, that was only 2 blocks from where I lived. So I saw quite a bit more of her at that time. And so I was able to kind of track her moods and feelings during that time.
Did you notice any change in how she felt about herself or self-esteem while?
Well, yes, really pretty dramatically that, her life was going down the tubes basically. And she felt horrible and she looked horrible. And she was really quite taken up with this as a horrible process the whole time and how she couldn't get out from under it. It was such a chess game and she was always being cornered and in check and checkmate. And it just was very unbearable for her.
Okay. Did you notice any change in her spending habits?
Well, I didn't really see these things myself. I think she lived, outwardly rather normally.
Did you ever hear Betty use profanity?
Yes.
And can you explain under what circumstances you would hear that?
Well, usually when we would be talking about the frustrations of a difficult divorce and how she was so unable to defend herself in this adversarial system and how she was anxious and frustrated and more and the language would start to come.
Okay. Did you ever hear her use the words kill or threaten?
What's going on with the sound?
Yes.
Okay. And can you explain those circumstances?
Well, in that same context of the frustration and talking about what can you do, how horrible this is, you're trapped, you're the victim, you're the person who can't get out every time you turn, the system gets you in another corner, and there's another situation that develops. And the frustration level at that point would be such, she would say, I'm going to kill him. And I just, had to sort of nod my head.
And she did.
Okay. Did you ever hear her use profanity in front of her children?
Not really. I may have once. I don't recall any particular time. It was usually with just me as we talked about this.
Okay.
And I would use it too.
See you, Bri. Tell Madison that we hope he feels better very soon. You guys at least get some sort of treatment plan going. You would never use profanity? It is such a big deal. Julie Andrea lost her children because she was a potty mouth too. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is, Jenny. But Jenny, your first sentence makes me laugh. Oh, Julie Andrews. I thought you might have meant that, but I wasn't sure. I'm like, maybe there's something I don't know. Because your first sentence right there, I was like, that's a bunch of BS, Jenny. I've heard you. This one is honest. This one's honest. Dare. Well, you missed the last one, Adair. This lady and I were in the same colors. I'm not really sure what I feel about that. Well, I was like, wait a minute. Did something bad happen? Like, she being serious right now? I wasn't sure, so I was treading very lightly here. But every time somebody says, did you ever hear Betty use profanity around her children? I'm like, did you hear the 45-minute phone call that we heard? There was a lot. and lots and lots. And they were like the big words. They were the big ones. So this lady looks dazed and confused. Really? That's the close. Sorry, I said that and then that closed caption popped up. That was funny. Wasn't planned. I don't have that kind of powers. Be better if I did, but I don't.
Did she ever talk, was there any conversations about what she needed out of her divorce?
Well,
I wish.
she felt that she needed to know, needed some resolution of what was going to happen to her, and that she needed the security. I think she was frustrated to think that it would never be possible to raise those 4 children the way she wanted to. In a single parent family, she had standards that she wanted to maintain. And with one parent, it's not easy, but she wanted to know what was going to happen, and she wanted the children.
When you indicated that she felt she needed some resolution of the issues, you were aware that as of January of 1989, that there was a resolution of the issues, that she was aware of that at that time, about her ownership of the house, about the amount of alimony that she was getting, about visitation schedule, about the property that she owned, about her retirement pension fund that she owned. You knew that there was a resolution of that as of January of 1989.
Well, my understanding was there was never a resolution about the children and what was going to really happen in that situation.
But there was a resolution about the financial things, and wasn't
Well,
that
I
what
wasn't party to that. I wouldn't know what that resolution would be. I mean, it's very complicated.
Okay, and the only things that you knew about the process of the divorce came from her telling you, correct?
Yes.
And she wouldn't necessarily tell you about what exactly was happening in court or what the resolutions were about the financial matters.
No, she told me what she perceived was happening, and she was feeling victimized and very panicky and afraid.
She was feeling victimized by everyone. She was feeling victimized by Dan. She was feeling victimized by her attorney. She was feeling victimized by the judges. She was feeling
That's true.
victimized by her friends, just about everybody, correct?
I don't know about the friends, but about all those others, probably.
That was today.
Your opinion is that Elizabeth Broderick has a very strong personality, correct?
Yes.
She's a very strong, intelligent, assertive person, correct?
Conversationally. Mm-hmm.
You've indicated that she was also a very controlling person.
Yes, she likes to have control of the situation, and I think someone like that, I feel I myself am that kind of person. When you lose that kind of control, it's a very panicky feeling, and it's very frightening, and you know, get a little crazy sometimes.
Okay. She never had any problems expressing her opinions about things, correct? She was very assertive about her opinions.
Well, except when the men were around, she tended not to want to talk about issues, only talk about the weather kind of thing. You don't talk about politics, religion, or anything too controversial, because the men would not be perhaps as pleased.
So as far as your opinion is that she never talked about politics, investments, anything like that with other men?
No, I say when I was there.
You indicated that you went to a Christmas party prior to separation?
Mhm.
Okay, and that was a Christmas party where Dan dressed up as the Santa Claus? He was the
No, it wasn't that one. There was another, or maybe maybe that was him. No, I don't think so.
You also indicated that you never saw Elizabeth Broderick depressed during this period of time. She was always strong and fighting, was your opinion.
Which period of time?
After separation?
Gosh, no. That was never anything I would say. She was very depressed. She was gaining weight, and she was depressed.
Let me show you a defense investigative report, page 2, the first paragraph. If you could read the highlighted.
Never really saw Betty depressed. She just saw her strong and fighting. She did, however.
Excuse me.
Oh,
I
all of
didn't,
it.
no, I didn't give you the correct, if you could just read that to yourself.
Oh.
This is referring to you, Mrs.
Oops.
Olson statement.
Yes. Mhm.
And see if that refreshes your recollection about whether or not you had heard.
But when was this?
Talking about after
Stated notice Betty became more fixated in the relationship. Couldn't seem to let it
And you
go.
need to read it to yourself.
Oh. Well,
Isn't it true that?
I just saw her acting out then and doing all the other things that relate to depression.
Okay, but at the time when you were originally interviewed, isn't it true that you said that you saw her becoming more and more fixated on her relationship with Dan, that she wouldn't let it go, and that she never saw her depressed. You just saw her strong and fine.
Yeah.
That she was always very assertive. She sometimes acted zany. Is that your word? Zany?
I use that word, yes.
And that she became consumed with the whole process and with losing the relationship with Dan.
If that's what it says. But of course, depression has all those features in it. So I've learned more about depression since then.
Okay. Someone talked to you about that? Is that
No, I've read a lot about it. I actually wrote a paper on it 20 years ago that I pulled out the other day, and it was pretty amazing. It's right on.
you? Did she ever talk to you about the things that she was doing to cause any problems in the process? Did she talk to you about firing her attorneys, firing people who had been hired on her behalf?
Yeah, less about that than about her acting out. She talked about running into the door and pushing the car off the road and acting out situations that she was so angry and so frustrated and that kind of thing. So that to me goes into the depression. You either act it out or you internalize it.
And prior to the separation, it was also your opinion that she was very strong in the relationship between her and Dan Broderick. You described him as being a rather quiet, shy, cute man. The defendant was a dynamo and dramatic and seemed to be calling the shots.
Yeah, that's how I would have had that impression, because I thought she was a very dynamic woman. And he seemed kind of like an overgrown fraternity boy.
Okay. And she seemed to be calling the shots about the relationship, correct? That was your statement.
Well, yeah, little dramatic, sure. But she seemed to know what was going on when I was around her.
I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Yes, sir. Maybe we can go to the one.
Sure. Redirect.
Yes. The parties that you attended, those were parties that were family parties, where they were basically Betty's friends and children.
Yes, I would say a lot of them were lawyers' families, looking at it. I know a lot of those families, and they were Betty's friends and some others.
Okay. You didn't attend parties where there was just, where there were Dan's friends that were there as just lawyers?
No, my husband's not a lawyer, and so we were not invited to those parties.
No further questions.
Recross.
No, no,
Witness be excused.
no objection.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, Shenny, you had to. It was funny. You put she got fat and puffy. Dang it! YouTube held it. I don't know if Gabby or Flashman approved it. It never showed up over here in StreamYard. Like, I can't. It's weird. Like, weird. I don't know, but it was funny. Why are we still watching this? Because we're not done with Yet a Dare. We're almost done. Been through it. Be patient. Don't start cussing me out or something. It said it had to be approved. I went to approve it and it said another moderator had taken care of it already. I'm like, sorry, okie dokie. But it never popped up over in StreamYard. It's only on YouTube. But I saw it and it made me laugh. Because poor Betty. I feel okay. Because poor Betty. This woman's talking about how much she trusted everyone or whatever. Betty trusted all of them. I'm like, until you all testified about how fat she got, you have not said anything else that's going to make a bit of difference to Betty about other than how fat she got and puffy and gained an enormous amount of weight.
Would you see if you're on a witness?
Certainly.
I've never had that happen before, Jenny. Usually it'll pop up over here.
Your Honor,
I don't know. StreamYard's
witness
weird.
called. She wasn't feeling well, but she was on her way. She called her at 9.
Well, why don't we just take the morning recess a little early then? It's all right with me.
Yes, and then I believe after that, there'll just be 1 or 2 witnesses, Your Honor.
So we're gonna get through before lunchtime?
You've seen how long the witnesses take.
sure the jury's glad to hear that. I know I am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our morning recess at this time. We'll be in recess, we'll say, for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. When the witness arrives, I'll send my bailiff to get you. Please remember the admonition.
Ma'am, please state your full name for the record and start your last name.
Phyllis Jardel, Jardel.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do you know the lady at the end of council table here, Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
And when did you first, do you remember what year you first met Betty?
In the early 70s.
And how did the two of you happen to meet?
She was working at St. Columba, and my husband's Aunt Joan was a teacher there, and she asked me if I would babysit her daughters.
Okay, and where were you living at that time?
On Mission, on Melbourne Drive.
Just what part of town?
Sarah Mesa.
Okay, and was that a private school?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and what grades did it go through, do you know?
I think ninth grade at that time.
Okay, and what grade was she teaching?
I think maybe the third grade, I'm not sure.
Okay, and did she also have another job during the time that you met her?
Yes, she was the hostess for the Black Angus.
And did you maintain a friendship with Betty after that period of time?
Yes, all through the 70s.
Okay, and what kind of activities did you do together?
Well, we both had young children. It was like, going to the beach. We had households that, didn't have a lot of money, so we go thrift shops and shop, for the kids' clothes and stuff like that. And she was active in all, different sports and stuff.
Okay, and were those with the children?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. Was she someone who was spending a lot of money?
No, she didn't have a lot of money to spend. Neither one of us did.
Okay. And were you aware of any medical problems that she had at that time?
Yes, as I said, she had two daughters, and I had two daughters about the same age. And she kept getting, pregnant, and she had varicose veins that were really bad. And she kept having like miscarriages and even carried a baby to term, and it died.
Okay. Did you and your family socialize with the Brodericks?
Yes.
Did during the time that you were there, was Mr. Broderick involved with the children?
No, at that point in his life, his ambition was he wanted to.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay as speculation.
I'm saying. Okay. Was he involved with his children? Just
No.
okay. Did you know them at the when they moved to Coral Reef?
Yes.
Okay, and what was when the years they first moved in there, how was Coral Reef furnished?
Really nothing, because before they moved, they'd had a fire, and they didn't have much of anything. It was just things people gave them, just odds and ends.
During the time that you knew her, what was her attitude towards Dan?
I really didn't think they had, basic arguments like everybody, but they seemed to get along, real well. I never heard arguments. I never heard cuss words or anything like that.
Okay. Would you say that she was someone who seemed to be always critical of her husband?
No.
Did you ever see an injury to Mrs. Broderick?
Yes.
And what did you see?
She had a black eye.
Okay. Did she ever tell you how this occurred?
No, I asked her, but she didn't really. She just said it was an accident, and it's embarrassing enough anyway, so I just didn't cry.
Okay. Did she seem like she wanted to talk about it?
No.
And do you remember what year this happened?
About 76.
I have no further questions.
Cross down.
You indicated that the defendant would throw lavish parties. What is it that you're talking about? Are you talking about during this period of time?
No, I only indicate if I'm not sure. I said that last time.
Well, if I can show you a report, page 2.
Oh, this was an Easter party. The one time when he finally went out on his own. See,
Do you recall when this was that she threw? You've described that she threw lavish parties, correct?
well, I didn't mean parties. I was just talking about this one particular. They'd finally gotten some money, and she threw a big Easter party.
Okay.
And it was mainly for the children.
And when you're talking about the time that you knew her, the period of time you you're talking about was in the early 70s, right? We're talking about 20 years ago.
Early 70s to the late 70s when he started making some money.
Okay. And during that period of time, when you said you had a friendship with her, how many times, for example, would you be over at the house during the week where Dan would be home?
During the week?
Mhm.
Well, I'm thinking of when I was babysitting and she was working. You mean after that period of time?
Well, at any period of time, how many times would you be there? I mean, Dan obviously worked full-time. He worked during the day,
Right.
correct? And so when would be the times that you would see him?
Would be like if we went over for dinner sometimes or on weekends, more likely.
Okay. So you wouldn't be there in the evenings when he would come home from work, for example, to see how he interacted with the children?
No, I was there in the evening several times.
Okay. When Dan would come home from work?
Right.
Okay. When was it that they moved to Court? Were you there did you know her when she moved to Court?
Yes, I was trying to think. I'm not sure because it wasn't too long after they first moved out here because they lived in Claremont Mesa and they were renting that house and then that burned down. And then they purchased the Coral Reef home. When they purchased it, it didn't have anything. It was just like a brand new home.
Okay.
No fences, nothing.
Now, the injury to the black eye, when you saw that, when was that? What year is that?
About around 76.
Okay, and how is it that you remember it was in 76?
Well, I know it wasn't when I first met her, and it wasn't later on. I think it was when Dan was still working for the law firm, and he worked for 2 years there when he first moved out.
And when you saw it, did you ask her what happened?
Yes, I did.
And what was her specific response?
She just said she really didn't want to talk about it. It was an accident.
Okay. Did you ever talk about it at all with her later after that?
No, Betty was not. She kept her feelings to herself. I mean, she didn't really like to talk about something. It was just an impression I had.
And you indicated that during the times that you saw them together, you never heard them arguing, you never heard any disagreements.
Not really. Sometimes when, like, we were there for dinner, and he was 2 hours late, and he had been out having some drinks and discussing business, according to him. She was a little upset, but no, there was no, had dinner and everything went fine. I'm sure there was no yelling or screaming or anything like that.
I'm not.
Correct.
No, you're.
Witness be excused.
Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Take this time.
Yeah.
Did you solemnly swear the testimony?
Shani, she 100% will not get invited to the birthday party. Also, AT1, have second dessert. Why not? It's Wednesday. Just do it. It'll be okay.
You about to give in the matter of his witness in court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Ma'am, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Melanie Coors, Cohrs.
Do you know the lady here at the end of the council table, Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
Yes, she does. Puddletown, she's just fine. Nobody kidnapped her. All they've done today is continue to talk about Betty gaining weight. Also, Church Lady is almost showing me today. And she's in a very light colored dress. We've not seen this part of Church Lady this whole entire trial. Don't know. I don't know what's happening. Old Soul might be right. Might be spring. Spring may be approaching. The trial's been going on that long. Yeah, don't share that. Because that's delicious. And should be kept to yourself. I'd be like, no, hitting people with my spoon. Get out. Don't touch my ice cream or raspberries. Church Lady got into the judge's sauce. Repent, Church Lady. Oh, this one looks a little. That's a bad pause. She's probably really nice. Tell us how fat Betty got.
And do you know approximately when you met her?
Yes, it was in either 78 or 79.
What is your occupation?
I'm an interior designer.
Is there such thing as a interior decorators or designer license?
No.
Okay.
Not in the state of California.
How did you happen to meet her?
I owned a store in La Jolla at that particular time, and she used to come and shop there.
Okay. And when you first met her, how would you describe her?
I would describe her as a fun, happy person, but most of the time when she'd come in, she'd be in a hurry because she was concerned about her children and she had to go here or pick them up or do this or be home for the children.
Was she someone that was wearing fancy clothes?
No, I either saw her in jeans or jogging suits or sweatshirt suits or clothing like that.
Did you meet Dan Broderick?
Yes, I did.
Okay. At some point in time, did you become a closer friend of Betty?
Yes, as things progressed and they had purchased or were thinking of purchasing Coral Reef, she had asked me to help with the house and some architectural things. And then when I saw, and then at that time, I came to know that she was separating from Dan, and she and I became quite close
Okay.
from that point for several years after that.
What year would have that been?
That would have been 85.
And when you said Coral Reef, did you mean Coral Reef or Cali
I mean,
de Cielo?
I'm sorry, Calle de Cielo.
And did you see any changes in Betty at the time after their separation?
Objection, Your Honor, speaking.
Now, what road you answer that?
Yes, she was very upset. She would go into periods of depression. I noticed a withdrawing from a lot of people. I felt that my job was to try and cheer her up a lot of the times because when I would go over there, she would be in a very depressed state.
And would you visit her at her home in La Jolla?
Yes.
Okay. And how often would you say you saw her during the week or month after her separation?
Sometimes it was 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes I wouldn't see her for a month.
Okay.
I'd see her once a month.
Can you, now, you indicated that you got more involved with her at the time that the time they purchased Cali de Cielo. Was there a reason for that?
Well, at first it was because the house was in such bad shape. And I was called in on a conference with an architect and Betty to see what we could do to change the house interiorly.
Okay. Can you describe the condition of the home when she first moved into it?
Well, apparently there'd been a large family living there and they had taken and put up like partitions in some of the rooms and they were divided and almost like I don't know, where you see the tenement housing where they've taken one room and they've compartmentalized it and there were separate bedrooms, or one room that she later became to use the family room, I think was made into 3 bedrooms. The garage also had a couple of bedrooms in it.
Okay. Was there any furniture in the house the first 3 or 4 months that you can remember?
No,
Do you know where she was sleeping?
on the floor.
Do you know how long it took her to furnish the house?
She hadn't completely furnished it by the time she was moving out. Little by little, I know that it was empty, fairly empty for quite a while, and then little by little, old pieces of furniture from her other house would appear. And also one day she got tired of not having any furniture in the living room, so she went out and bought everything.
Okay. Was it expensive furniture that she was buying?
Not very much, no.
Did she make any improvements to the house?
Yes, a lot of landscaping and added on a room in the back.
Do you know what the purpose of those improvements were?
Well, for several reasons. The house itself wasn't very interesting. Her dream house had been more of a colonial style, and this house wasn't that way. So the white picket fence in the front was added for that reason, and the landscaping was pretty bad. So she had done a lot with that. And then the backyard, which was totally devoted to children's activities. And the cabana or pool house that was built in the back was definitely made for parties. It was a dream for children to have a party.
Did you feel that she was someone who was a talented person, or someone who was could have been an interior decorator?
I think Betty had good taste. I think she needed help to get things together properly. The house was nice, but it wasn't as nice as it could have been. And I'm not saying that she had to spend any more money either.
But there was never any time where did you talk to her about going into partnerships as an interior decorator, or feel that?
At one time, there's a organization or a what do you call them, franchise called Decorating Den. And she had read an article, I think in the New York Times or somewhere, because that was her favorite newspaper, I know, or the Wall Street Journal. And it was just starting up at that time. And she said, hey, why don't I buy a van and we can go around and do this? And I said, well, she was going to meet with this person that was starting this up. And I said, well, the designing and decorating business is a little more complicated than you really think it is. And we talked about it a little bit, but I was definitely telling her that it's not exactly an easy thing to do. And I really didn't think she should do it, especially since I think the beginning startup costs.
All right, sustained.
Were you ever in the home when you heard messages left for her from the children?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know about over what period of time did you hear these messages?
A couple years.
Okay. And can you describe those messages?
Well, there's one in particular that I can't get out of my head. And that is one that I heard Rhett on the phone crying and calling for his mother and asking for help and saying that he was going to hurt me. And then all of a sudden there was a click and the phone went dead. And it upset me a lot. And that was,
Non-responsive.
Sustained.
Can you describe Betty's reactions?
well, Betty went nuts. Betty went berserk and immediately went to the phone and tried to call them back. And of course, she got an answering machine.
Did were you around the house when she would have to take the boys back to their fathers after visits?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the children's reaction?
They weren't very happy. Again, there was one particular time that, again, I can't get out of my head, that Rhett was clinging to her and crying and saying, Mommy, please don't send me back. I don't want to go back there. I hate it. It's awful. Please don't send me back. And she started to cry herself and said, I have to. If I don't, they'll put me in jail again.
Okay. Did you hear her use profanity about Dan or Linda in front of the boys?
Yes.
Okay. How often would this occur?
Well, I don't think it was a primary thing. Occasionally, most of the time she was having fun with the children and playing with the children. But occasionally the cloud would come over the group. And that's whenever Dan or Linda were brought up, that the profanity would come out.
Okay. Did you try to get Betty to make plans socially?
Yes, all the time.
And were there problems with that?
Yes, it became increasingly more difficult.
Did it have anything to do with the children?
Yes. It was a very sporadic thing because I'd call and I'd say, okay, let's go to a movie or let's go out to dinner. And she'd say, I can't, the kids are coming this weekend. And I'd say, great. And she'd be all happy. And then a couple of days later, she'd call and she'd say they didn't come or they weren't able to come. And then, so the next week I said, well, it's all right. Let's do this. Or there would be some kind of a thing where you might even have to pay. There were several particular social events that weren't the expensive ones, and it didn't matter if you didn't come with an escort, that she would buy tickets for. And then at the last minute, the children would come, and this happened on a couple of occasions, that she would just lose her money on the ticket and she couldn't go. She'd stay home with the children.
Did you ever see her reaction to getting legal papers in the mail?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and what kind of reactions would you see?
It was always, not again, except for one particular time when we'd been out to a movie or out to dinner or something, and during dinner, she got very upset. And I kept saying, well, what's wrong? And she said, I got some papers today, and she said, they're going to send me back to jail. And I said, are you sure? And she said, yes, I think they were delivered by a marshal, and they're going to send me back to jail. And I said, well, don't worry about it. Well, just go to your house and pick up something for you to wear, and you can come to my apartment because they won't find you there, and we can figure it out and maybe do something about it and talk to your lawyer, or call a lawyer. And so we went to her house, and I said, you better let me read it. So I started to read it. Well, it had a little bit to do with it, but it didn't have anything to do with her going to jail. And I got very frightened at that time because I had always thought that Betty understood all these legal papers, and I could see that it was evident from this that she really didn't too
Yes.
much.
Whoops.
And this even scared me more later when I knew she was representing herself.
During the years that you knew her, did you see any change in her physical appearance?
Oh, yes. When I first met her, she was a lovely, beautiful, happy person with a darling sense of humor. She was just lots of fun to be around. And little by little, I saw that person dissolve and gain weight and eat compulsively.
Did you see Betty during the summer of 1989?
Yes.
Were you aware of anything she was doing to help her try to get custody of the boys?
Yes. The couple of times that I saw her during that summer, she was happy about one thing, that part of it was over and she could concentrate on getting the children back and try and move forward. But the papers kept coming that I think were partly negative for her.
So during the summer, while she was working to get the boys back, her mood, at least it improved.
It improved for a short period of time, yes, it did.
I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
When you say the papers kept coming in the summer of 1989, did you see any of these papers that were delivered in the summer of 1989?
It was hard to say that there were always so many papers there, and so I can't tell you what dates or whenever they came. I just knew that things were happening and more.
Well, let's just talk about the summer of 1989. Are you aware of her receiving any papers regarding the
can't.
custody of the children in the summer of 1989?
I think Betty told me that she had received some. I can't give you an exact time, or I can't say that I actually physically saw a paper right now.
Okay. And were you aware that she didn't file for custody of the boys until late September of 1989?
No.
Were you aware that there were no actions going on in court with respect to custody of the boys during the summer?
No.
And when you indicate that there was this one time when she was very upset about receiving some papers and said, they're going to take me back to jail again. And you went back to her house and you sat down and you read the papers, and it was clear to you that they weren't taking her back to jail, and nobody was taking her back to jail, correct?
Right.
That was not the tenor or the content of the papers that she had received.
Right.
Okay. And did you sit down and go over it with her and read
Yes.
together with her?
Yes, and at that time, then she had me read quite a few of the other papers from the divorce.
Okay. But with respect to those papers, it was clear that nobody was sending her to jail, and she, from reading those, could obviously understand that, correct?
No, not necessarily, because she had been to jail,
Okay, but,
and she didn't understand at that time. So why should she understand when those came?
well, when papers came that had to do with something that was entirely
Oh, no, it wasn't.
unrelated.
Well,
What-
it wasn't unrelated to the problem and the reason that she was sent to jail. It was to do with the profanity in the tapes that Dan had.
And was there anything in there that said that she was going to jail?
Not at that particular time, no.
When you read the papers, it was clear to you that she was
Yes.
not going to jail?
Yes.
Okay. You've already always described Elizabeth Broderick as being extremely intelligent, correct?
Yes,
Very, very bright.
yes. But you can be intelligent, and naive at the same time.
Okay.
And I think that's Betty.
With respect to the decorating of the house, it is true that she received most of the furniture from the Coral Reef house by the time Dan and the kids had moved into Cyprus, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and that was in December of 1985.
If that's when it was, yeah.
And then after that period of time, there was, with respect to the house, it was repainted, it was recarpeted, there was new kitchen cabinets put in, new kitchen counters, new linoleum, new canvas.
June, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. I'll learn to talk this week. I promise. Memberships. Brandy Cat got one. Man, I've got some new names in here. I hope I don't say these all wrong. Yendisaurus, Natalie, Diana, Out and About with Diane, and Larissa. Oh, dang it, Harris. I'm not saying her name wrong. I'm not saying her name wrong. I can't remember how to say it. Dang it, she needs to come back. It's not Larissa. She told me how to say it one time. So sorry. But thank you so much, June. That was so nice of you. I appreciate that so much. Absolutely. Is that it's Puddletown? I don't know if you were here. It's not. Yeah, it's not how it's spelled. And I don't remember now. I feel bad. But I am excited. There's a couple names in there I haven't seen before. Mauricia. Maybe that. You tried to sneak it past. Oh, that's funny. Thank you. This lady does not have good pauses, does she? There's no good pause face on her. It's like intense, like walked in. Dang. Sorry, Ronnie. I was trying to read Ronnie's. You need to keep in mind that she does have a support group of cray-cray women, and you don't want to attend any of the meetings. Oh my goodness. Plus, why couldn't Betty understand the legal papers? It's not like Betty is not a dumb person. She's intelligent. And she just probably wasn't paying attention, or I guess able to read them with a clear mind without just being angry. So thanks for there. I just talked myself into defending her. That was great. Ronnie, you're rubbing off on me. She's not dumb. She's not stupid, Flash fan. I mean, she's educated. She went to college. She's a school teacher. Living with an attorney, not that I live with one, but I think you pick up around, like my husband was an electrician for a very long time. You pick up on things. You hear about it enough. Not that I could go wire something up, but she had to pick up on some of the legal words that Dan was using. Whatever. You know what I mean. PT1 just looked up that face in the Oxford Dictionary. It is under resting bitch face. I might be there too. It's convenient and helps to her case to claim stupid. That's true. That's true. Yes. Thank you, Ronnie. She did write edit notes on the court document. So, yeah. Who's smarter, Betty or Sarah Boone? Betty by a mile. Yes, we will just say we're going to go attend the meetings, and then all of us will just go somewhere else and talk about how enormous those women are and puffy.
Overhangings on the outside of the house, new fences, new lights, the pool house in the back, all of that was done post 1985, correct?
Yes, can I clarify a couple of those things?
Yeah.
Like when you say new cabinets in the kitchen, I believe it was just new faces. It's a difference. And
Were you involved in doing that with
No.
her, or she was doing that herself?
she was doing that herself.
So she was making those decisions about how to do those.
Yes, occasionally she would ask my advice. I didn't want to sell her anything. I knew that she had a problem with her cash flow. So, and we also were friends at this time, and I didn't want to be on that kind of a relationship with her.
In fact, didn't you try to talk her into not spending quite so much money?
Yes. I'm gonna go.
Oh, no.
And the
Bring it.
phone message that you indicated that you heard from Rhett, that was several years ago, several years before November 5th of 1989, correct?
Yes,
Okay. So it had been sometime maybe in 1986,
it's possible.
and there was a phone call from Rhett, and then you indicated that it hung up, and she was very upset, and she called back. What did she do when she called back?
She, as I said, she went nuts. And at that time, that's when she started screaming into the phone, "Where are my children?" and said the profanities, some profanities, yes.
Do you recall what she said to the phone?
No.
Okay, well, obviously her concern at that point was about Rhett.
Yes,
And where are my children?
Right.
Okay, what else was she saying on the phone? Was she yelling profanities about Linda?
yes,
And
because it was Linda answering the machine,
how do you know that?
because she told me.
Okay.
Because
What did she
she
do after
said,
that?
you're on the machine.
Okay. What did she do after that? I mean, there was an answer as she yelled profanities into the phone, and then what happened?
She said, I gotta wait, I can't leave. I think we were gonna go out, or we were gonna do something again. We'd come home, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember how upset she was to have to be by the phone.
Another friend to check, or did she call the police or anything like that?
No,
Guys, StreamYard is being really, really weird. So if I disappear, hang on, I'll be back. I have a feeling it may boot me here in a second. So I'm not sure. So if that happens, just keep chatting. I'll be back.
And the incident that you referred to about Rhett saying that he didn't want to go back when she was going to send him back to his father's, when was that? In relation to November 5th of 1989.
I'm not sure. It's hard for me to, the years sort of run together.
That was several years
Probably
before.
88.
Okay. And I mean, obviously Rhett loved his mom. I mean, I think that's correct.
Yes, that is
Fair
correct.
And he wanted to visit his mother more than he was being allowed to, correct?
That's correct.
And you were not aware of the situations with respect to the recommendations of the psychologists and why they were recommending that there not be more visitation, correct?
On one occasion I was.
Okay, from what Elizabeth Broderick told you? Or did you talk to the psychologist?
No, from what Elizabeth Broderick told me.
Okay, so you were aware, at least from Elizabeth Broderick, that the psychologists that were dealing with the children were recommending that there be limited visitation with the defendant, correct?
Not that far. There was just one time where I was there where there was a phone call from a psychologist.
Okay,
And I know that Betty came back and said, well, I won't do what the psychologist wants me to do. I cannot live with somebody telling me what to do all the time like this. So she's telling me now I can't have the children this weekend.
okay. So a psychologist had apparently called her and talked to her and made suggestions or recommendations about what she should do in order to have the children, and she was indicating to you that she wasn't going to do that. Nobody was going to tell her what to do.
She'd been told too much what to do.
Obviously, when Rhett was going back to his dad's, you indicated that she said, if I don't, I've got to send you back. If I don't, I'll be put in jail, right?
That's correct.
Now, obviously, if Rhett's upset, he's a little boy. He loves both his parents. He wants to spend time with both his parents. When she's telling him, I've got to send you back, there's a couple of ways of dealing with that. He's upset, right? There's one way of saying, Rhett, don't worry about it. Your dad loves you, and you're happy over at his house. And
Your Honor, are we going to have, I object, Your Honor.
Sustained, just rephrase your question.
okay. Well, did she say anything about Rhett, honey? Don't worry about it. Calm down. You know your dad loves you. You're going to spend some time with your dad. You're going to see me next weekend. Don't worry about it. Calm down and let's go back to dad, and I'll see you later.
Your Honor, objection since that's not evidence.
I'm asking-
Form of a question, you answer.
Did she say that at this particular time?
I'm sure she said, I know that she said, calm down, don't worry about it, but I'm sure that she never would have said, your father loves you.
Were you aware of the fact that she was telling him constantly that his father did not love him?
No, never, I didn't hear her say that, no.
Were you ever aware of the fact that she was telling him your father?
Your Honor, objection, she doesn't answer.
Sustained.
I was going to ask another question.
Your Honor, obviously, when she says she's never heard it, this is in bad faith.
The first question was fine. We asked another question.
You indicated that you'd heard her use some profanity with respect to Dan and Linda in front of the children.
That's correct.
Did you ever hear her say things like your father treats you like a piece of shit?
No, I don't remember that.
Your Honor, there's been objections to me asking these kind of questions, and I
Sustained.
object to her asking.
Sustained.
When you heard her using profanities about Dan and Linda, did you ever hear her telling the boys how Dan and Linda felt about them or what their situation was like over at their house?
No,
Okay, did you ever hear her describe their house in derogatory terms?
no,
And you were aware that the defendant was never put in jail for not sending her child back to Dan at the end of the visitation, correct?
that's correct.
And in fact, there were times when she did that, when she did not send him back at the end of a visitation, and she was not put in jail. There were no contempts filed against her.
I don't know that, other than the fact that she didn't go to jail again.
Were you ever aware when she was talking to the boys and using profanities, did you ever hear her telling the boys to do things to Dan or Linda?
No,
Were you ever aware of that circumstance?
no,
Were you ever aware of any circumstances when she had the boys and she had visitation of the boys, but she got angry for one reason or another and took them back to Dan's house when they didn't
No.
want to go?
No.
Were you around in 1985 at any time when the boys would want to be with her, stay with her at her house, and she would refuse to let them do that?
no,
You indicated that you did try to talk to her about the language that she was using and that it was not being helpful to her situation, correct?
I told her that it was only self-defeating, that she was only hurting herself by using this language.
And she wouldn't listen to that.
She said, and at that point, and I think she was probably right, that that was the only thing, that was the only outlet she had.
But you were explaining to her, but that by using that outlet, that it was obviously self-defeating. The psychologists were telling her it was self-defeating, and she still continued to do it, correct?
She used profanity, I will say, it almost became second nature. It was hard for her to, it was as an adjective. It was almost part of Deb Broderick's name. I mean, it
When
wasn't
you-
that you couldn't say his name without that word.
Okay. And you talked to her about the fact that maybe that was not appropriate around the children, for example. Were you
I
ever
did.
aware of situations, for example, when she was in court? And she obviously was dealing with Dan Broderick and wasn't using that name. She could control it when she needed to.
I wasn't in court, so I don't know.
Okay. Were you ever at Francis Parker,
No.
around other people, where she was around other people and didn't
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. She didn't have to all the time, but when she was with her friends,
Isn't it true that there were times when she did not use the bad language, and there were times when
oh,
she
sure. Oh, yes.
did? So
Oh,
she
sure,
had
definitely.
control
It
over when
wasn't.
she was doing it.
Not always. No, she had her public persona, but when she let her hair down and when she was with her friends, I mean, just like all of us, I mean, you control different things, but you let your emotions, when you let your emotions go, then it comes out, sure.
You indicated that she was a very black and white person. She only saw things as either black or white.
Because, oh, good and evil, yes.
No in-betweens. Couldn't see the in-betweens.
Right, on certain things, yes.
And you also indicated that she was angry at Dan and wanted to get back at him, but she couldn't seem to find any way of doing it. Did you make that statement?
I think that she was having a hard time through the legal system. That's what I think I meant. It seemed that she felt that the legal system was against her.
And did you not say that she was angry at Dan and wanted to get back at him, but she couldn't seem to find any way of doing it?
I might have said that.
You could just take a look at an investigative report, page 4, just the underlying section here. With the division heading or something. Did you make that statement?
Yes,
Okay, see, I had to approve that message and it did come through over to StreamYard. It's so weird. Also, I called StreamYard. I said StreamYard's probably gonna kick me out, and it's like, no, I'm not. But that's hilarious. Weird. Betty should have been creative. As have Lord Liquor, do waffle, douche canoe, sheet, twit waddle, jack wagon. Yes. Yes. They cannot say yes or no. She has tried. And I think that's why the state started objecting so much to the witnesses being non-responsive, to just get them narrowed down to yes or no answers. Because they couldn't do it. They wanted to keep trailing off onto different paths that we're like, we don't care. Yes, I think everybody has a problem answering yes or no. They want to get their story out, man. Just tell the story. I don't know if they're trying to answer to make Betty look good. I think they just feel like they have stuff to say. And that they don't understand it doesn't matter. Sorry, Carmen's dog, the one you always hear barking, is laying behind me. I thought she just sighed, like, shut up. Like she was bored or something. Sorry. Well, that's okay. Because Rue's usually barking at you guys. Well, they probably feel like they did when they put him on the stand as witnesses, Puddletown. They're like, everyone wants to know what I have to say. Man, this is going fast. We're almost done. Wow. All right.
I did, and I said that she was frustrated.
I'm with the old
When was
soul.
the last time that you had contact with her? You indicated that you had contact with her over the summer of 1989, correct?
It became more and more difficult. Betty,
Excuse me, I'm sorry, if you could just tell me, when was the last time that you had contact with her?
well, it depends on which is my contact. I saw
When was the last
her,
time you
I
saw
saw
her?
her about a week or 2 weeks before November 5th.
Okay. You indicated that with respect to the problems of making plans or whatever for the weekends, there were no such problems during the summer of 1989 or during September or October of 1989, correct? In that regard?
No, I don't believe so, no. It was
Those were
more,
things that had happened years
it was
before.
more that Betty was going into herself. I think she was in more of a depressive state and hiding from people.
Do you know, I mean, she was involved in decorating her condominium at that time. She bought a condominium, right? She had
Yes.
hired another interior
Yes.
decorator to do that. So
That's
you
right.
weren't, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump on your answer. You weren't involved at all in the decoration of the condo or what she was doing with the house during that period of time?
No.
And did you ever see Rhett or Danny when they
I
were
was.
with their father and not with Elizabeth Broderick?
No.
I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Just very briefly, when you were were you ever present when she called the hotline?
No,
And did, at the time that you mentioned the incident with the psychologist or psychiatrist, was that incident that they wanted her to think nice things about Dan or talk nice about him?
yes.
I'm not.
Recross?
Well, when you're talking about talk nice things, you mean just not use the profanities around the children and talking sexually explicit terms, correct?
Well, I don't know. I didn't hear the exact conversation. I just know that she talked to the psychologist. The psychologist said, you can't see the children this weekend.
Nothing.
Mr. Early?
No, no.
Witness excused?
Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Your Honor, I do, I might have a short witness, as the court knows, but other than that, Your Honor, some stipulations I think we'll reach, that is, I will rest that.
Well,
I
you
don't
don't
have witnesses today.
okay, you don't have to rest at this point. I've already explained to the jury the witness situation. Just want to make sure you're that's it for today.
Okay, so he's not resting, just so you all know. He does have one more witness. And then the state will do, let me take this down real quick. First, hang on, before I forget this. June, they didn't take a breath over each other, so I couldn't say anything. But yes, some of the witnesses' faces when the state would object to was hilarious. Some of them looked they were confused. Like, can I answer? Do I not answer? Some just went on like, did she said something? Doesn't matter. And the judge was like, no, don't answer. But some of them were just like, how dare you? How dare you? Holy melons. What? You and Gabby are both saying the same thing. Well, maybe she's going somewhere after lunch. Like, holy melon. Gabby? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna make you come on in the street. Hey, I loved some of the 80s here. I was in high school, so we did the perm and the big bangs. Loved it. Loved it. I have no idea. Today is your last day in StreamYard. Oh, look at you. Being brave. Yeah. I just don't know that I I know I don't understand OBS enough but I can learn it. My nephew told me to watch YouTube videos about it. Yes, Brandy Cat June was the gifter of your membership. Well, Shani, I do love that you have drive and determination. And can I borrow a little bit of it? I'll give it back. I'll give it back. The 80s was a fun time for me. I'm not going to lie. Most of the 80s. We need to have an 80s party because it would be awesome. You didn't miss anything. I'm looking ahead. So they're doing a bunch of it's a stuff outside the presence of the jury. We're not watching that. It's not like Eileen Warnos when they sat there and argued with each other. It's nothing like that. It's just boring. They're like they're literally going through exhibits and talking about that kind of stuff. So we're not watching that. If you want to watch it, it's you can. So tomorrow will be probably a pretty short day. I thought about trying to do two parts tomorrow, but the problem is we've got the defense's last witness and then the state's first rebuttal witness, and they're not very long. They're both less than an hour total. But then this doctor comes on, dear heavens. And his first one is almost 2 hours. So I can't, it would be too, long to put them together. I want to see if I can show you what I saw. Oh, I can't. Dang it. Because you guys are going to have fun with him. I'm just telling you right now. Whew. Yeah, if it wasn't so long, Flash Fan, I would. But his segments, there's 4 segments to his, and they're fairly long segments. One isn't, but if it was the first segment, I would do them both together, but they're not. And I don't want to have to worry about where I stopped and started and all that stuff. So we'll just keep rolling as we are. You'll do a partial of his after the other 2 videos and then do the wrap up on Monday. No worries. Huh. Yeah, Gabby. I don't know that I believe you. Okay. I did not think that's what you said. Because I was wondering, Flash Fan, like I'm sitting there trying to read that going, something's wrong. Something's off. I have asked her, like, hey, do you want to do this or something? Like, if I couldn't do something, do you want to cover this or what have you? Like, all you have to do is just push play. She's like, no. So yeah, we may just hang out and chat for a little bit tomorrow. We'll see what's happening. That was awesome. Oh, AT1. I tried to get it back because it had a weird when I was trying to see the time on that, it stopped him in the weirdest frame. And I was trying to get it back so I could show you guys because it would probably good I couldn't. You would have had nightmares. Yeah. Just trust me. It's better. It's better that you don't see it. But it was funny. It was funny. Oh, definitely. Definitely be entertained. Oh my goodness. Well, okay. Well, on that note, that is all I have for today. So we have Adair's not here, or he's being quiet. He might be cussing at me somewhere. I don't know. So after tomorrow, I have to see. I might be able to put the last 3 parts together. So if we can, we'll be wrapping up soon. Good night, old soul. Have a good one. I can't believe it, Flash Fan. but never in a million years believed that you were going to go eat. And yes, thank you all for hanging out. Thanks, Gabby. You are here, and you were being quiet. See, just say his name and he comes out. Just telling you, we're almost done, Adair. You just got to hang in there. There is not 70 episodes. Nope. I looked at one today, and I got to 103. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. I will never end. It'll never end, ever, 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 ever. So no. All right, you guys. I will see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And when do we get to season 6? That's what it would be like. No. Wasn't that, because I would have never looked at that because I know that's a long one. But yeah. All right. I'm leaving. Have a good rest of your night. See you guys all tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you haven't already, please hit that like button on your way out. I would appreciate it. Helps me. And it's just a nice thing to do. So have a good night. See you guys all tomorrow.